You know, I have always been interested in public policy and politics, and kind of swirled around it in different ways. I had served as chair of the Democratic Party here locally. When Governor Richards, I was very involved in her campaign, and when she was elected governor, she appointed me chair of one of the state agencies. It was then known as the Texas Air Control Board, which was the state agency responsible for air quality in the state. And it was during that period of time that I was chair of that agency, we merged it with the Water Commission to form what is now known as the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. I'd been involved in some other public service type of things. I'd been president of the Texas Young Lawyers Association, which kind of scratched my itch for being involved. That's the public service arm of the State Bar of Texas, and I did that. But I'd never really run for office until I ran for mayor of Austin and I announced for mayor in October of '96. And I credit, like I say, I'd always been interested, but I credit the freedom to really get involved in public service with getting sick. And I was diagnosed at a pretty, in my early 30s, at a time when I thought I had the world by the tail. Things were great. I was practicing law, and Liz and I had a small child, and then I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And I had 3 surgeries and chemo. Went back to work when it looked like I was going to live through that, and a couple of years later on a routine CAT scan, they found another tumor in my abdomen, and so they went in and field dressed me. And I came out of that and said, you know, and Liz and I talked about it, and we said, we're going to do something different. And we set a date, a January date, had no idea what that was. So what we did is we looked at a variety of things. It might have been just working half-time or figuring out something. And during '96, that surgery was in April of '95, and during that period of time, people started coming to me and saying, you know, you've always loved public policy and politics, and the mayor's not going to run for re-election. Why don't you run for mayor? And so we talked about it and decided, you know, if I hate it, it's a 3-year term, I'll go find something else to do. But I was looking for something different, and I didn't hate it. I loved it. I loved being involved in public service. And so I really credit that as one of the big reasons I ended up. Now, what that means, by the way, is that I'm the only guy in America that thinks being mayor of Austin is better than chemotherapy. But I loved it. And so I'm really pleased that I am able to every day get up and be alive in a way where I get to have an impact on people's lives. And for at least this period of my life, this is what Liz and I and our family has committed to, and we'll keep at it.
And so when you decided to run for Senate, how did that unfold?
Well, as you know, which I try to keep a secret, but I'll have to admit it, I resigned the mayor's office so that I could run for Attorney General. And you'll notice you're not calling me General today. So in 2002, I ran statewide and was not successful. So I went back into private law practice and did some other things. I stayed involved in public service, served as chair of the Greater Austin Chamber of Commerce during that period of time, and always thought I might like to get back into elective office if the opportunity arose. And it arose when the longtime senator for Travis County, in this Senate District 14, Senator Gonzalo Barrientos, decided to retire. And the rumor had been that he might retire, and so I'd kind of told folks that if he does, kind of count on me to run. And so when the day he said he wasn't going to run again, I quietly sent out a one-sentence deal that says I'm in. And the good news is that that year I had no Republican and no Democratic opposition, and that was an election I could win. So I got elected and then was reelected, and now with redistricting, we're all up. Even though I was reelected just in 2010, we're all up in 2012, and I've told people I'm going to run again, so I'll be up in 2012.
So you learned something from that race, run unopposed.
Yeah, let me tell you, I won big.
So, you know, my recollection when you started is that from the outside, it didn't seem like the transition to the Senate was all that tough to you? It felt to me like you really took to it.
I loved it. You know, I've been around the Capitol a lot. You don't. Liz and I moved to Austin in 1981, and like I say, I've been involved in some political activity, including some stuff that took me up to the Capitol. A lot of pro bono stuff up at the Capitol, working on different issues that were important to me. A lot of them health related, things like diabetes and things of that nature. And then when I was president of the Young Lawyers, I was on the executive committee of the state bar. And I was the only member of the executive committee of the state bar that lived in Austin, and the bar was undergoing sunset review that legislative session, so I was up there all the time for that, and a variety of other things. So I had some understanding, I think, of the legislature and the Senate, and a lot of friends in the Senate. You know, while I'd served as mayor, I was representing the city of Austin quite frequently. That was back during a period of time when Austin was always a favorite target at the legislature. In fact, those that are too young to remember it, we used to have a term for it called Austin bashing. We even would have a big party just as the legislative session would come on and invite all the members of the legislature, and we called it the Austin Bash. So I spent a lot of time as mayor trying to build bridges with the city of Austin, the capital city, and the members of the legislature. So it felt very good to go into the Senate and be involved, and I felt like it was a pretty good transition.